Exhausted all the time? Tap into an infinite energy source that has nothing to do with diet or supplements. So I see a lot of people who focus on different diet and supplements, and obviously that is what I talk about as well. But sometimes I hear people and they've done the carnivore, they've done low carb, they've done keto, they're taking all of these supplements. And even though they don't feel amazing, so they're still feeling tired, they still feel exhausted, stressed, burnt out, it's helped them enough that they stick to it, right? And so they really feel like they can't let go of it. And there is another source of energy for us that is unlimited. And so when we're looking at diet and supplements, we're looking at physical energy or adrenal energy or energy from our mitochondria. But what I'm talking about is non-physical, okay? I'm talking about life force. So life force is life. It's what animates us, right? It's what keeps us suspended on a blue ball in space. It's what influences nature. So when we look at a tree, we're not looking at the tree thinking, I wonder how it gets its nutrients. And I wonder how every morning it's wondering what it's going to have for breakfast, or if it should do the carnivore or keto diet, or where it's going to get its water from, or how it's going to get the sun, right? The tree does not think that. The tree does not even move in order to get those things, right? But life and life force is provided to that tree. In my courtyard, it's all bricked, and there's always little weeds that sprout through. Even on my balcony, I've had little weeds sprout through, and I'm thinking, that is amazing. Like, this is non-natural environment, and yet somehow that weed is growing on my balcony through the concrete, and it's not only growing, it's thriving. And I know that's probably a silly example, but when I look at that, I see the life force that we have in this world. And so if you're exhausted or burnt out and you feel like you eat pretty well and you do the right things, then what you want to do is maximize your life force. So where does life force come from? So it basically runs our entire universe, okay? Our universe runs on life force. And in fact, many years ago, Nikola Tesla, so we know about Tesla through Tesla cars, but the real scientist, Nikola Tesla, who discovered that he could gather electricity from the ionosphere of the Earth, and if he could capture that energy and gather it and pull it to Earth, then he could give away electricity to every single person on the planet for free. So obviously he was stopped from doing this because the corporate powers wanted to keep making money by charging people for electricity, and so that plan was stopped right there. But he was able to prove through his experiments things that have never been able to be proved again today. So he was really in touch with something that our world or our universe runs on, which is life force. So life force is everywhere. You can access it at any time. There is no middleman. You don't need me or anyone else in order to access life force. The fact that you are alive means that you have life force. When life is withdrawn, you have no more life, okay? And this has already been known for thousands of years in different healing modalities, such as in India, it's known as prana. In TCM or Chinese medicine, it's known as chi or ki. And in Hawaii, it's known as mana. So that is what they already identify as life force, right? And we have ways that we can diminish our life force or we can enhance it. And when I see people who have been sick for a long time, so there's two types. I'll see people that have been sick for a long time and their life force is still high. And I'm like, you're going to be fine, okay? But then sometimes I speak to people and they've been sick for a long time and their life force is very low. And you can hear it in the energy when they speak, or even if they write me an email, I can really pick up on it. And so what we need to do is make sure that we're always tapped into high amounts of life force. Some people naturally have high life force, okay? And they are often healers in this world. But we can definitely get more access to life force, and we can definitely remove the blocks that we have to life force. So we want to be able to direct the life force in our life, right? And so there are ways that we can do this. So if we want to enhance our energy, enhance our healing, if you're at that point where you're like, gosh, I'm so tired of focusing on diet and supplements, right? Because I have to remind women in my groups about this, because when I can hear their language, they're like really controlled with everything they eat and that they do. It's not giving them freedom. It's not giving them joy. It's not giving them high vitality and life force. It's really controlling, and it's really diminishing, and it feels restricted, and it doesn't feel free, okay? And so I love to remind women that, hey, I see people all the time that don't eat well, but their life force is so high, right? So let's tap into more of that. So if you want to consciously direct your life force, this is what you want to look at. Look at the things that you do that increase your life force. So for me, for example, when I do webinars or masterclasses, or I'm do coaching one-on-one or group coaching, when I'm learning, when I'm doing podcast interviews, that stuff really energizes me. When I'm out in the sun, when I'm playing with my dog or spending time with my partner, or even talking to my family, all of that stuff is really energizing for me. And then you want to look at what diminishes your life force. Okay, so for me, spending all day in front of my computer, which has been the norm lately, is draining for me. When I'm doing admin work, I've got tech issues to solve, I'm following up different things over emails, there's urgency, all of that stuff is draining for me, and I can really feel it diminishing my life force and sucking the joy out of my life and out of my work. So I want to give you an example of this, of how this can really change your energy. So I had a client a few years ago, and she had said to me she had been stuck in this kind of adrenal fatigue burnout for 14 years. And I thought, wow, that's a really long time. And she really threw everything at it, right? Diet, supplements, meditations, and all the right things. And she was a lot better from what she was in the beginning, but she was tired. She wasn't feeling joy for her life, and she was really kind of just dragging herself along. And we had this session, we really chatted. I was like, what really lights you up? Like, what is really blocking your life force? Like, what's holding you back? What would really kind of just make you super excited or super energized? And as we got talking and we kind of explored that direction, she said, you know what? I've really always wanted to start my own business doing, I can't even remember what it was now, but it was something in the holistic space. And she's like, I really have always wanted to do that. And I've just never thought that I could. But that would bring me so much joy, right? And I was like, just do it. Like, if not now, when, right? And so we really talked about it. And she did. She really just kind of jumped in feet first. And I would say from 1 week to the next, maybe it was 2 weeks later, she said to me, I just feel like a different person. She said she was out of adrenal fatigue. She'd never felt so good. She'd never had so much energy, inspiration, life force. Okay. Now, her holding herself back, thinking that she couldn't do the things that she loved, was really diminishing her life force. And I think for a lot of us, the world has a lot of rules and regulations, and for some reason we place more rules and regulations on ourselves on what we can do and what we should do and what's possible and what's not possible. So if this is you, if you're listening to this and you think, there's definitely something to this because I've done all the right things, but I still don't feel like myself, or still feels like something's missing, then you want to tap into more of your life force, and you want to look at what is really going to light you up, even if it doesn't feel possible, because I can guarantee you everything's possible. Okay, everything is always possible to get closer to that thing that you want. Now, in a nutshell, every kind of healing modality and every spiritual healing and philosophy points to this same thing, right? It's all about doing what brings you life and stopping the things that don't. Okay, it's really, really simple, but like I said, we do tend to feel like we live in certain confinements and rules, and really we do create them. Society creates them for us. We take them on board, and then we create more of our own. And so this is really about kind of opening your mind and really exploring and really sitting with yourself, which is not what we often do, but sitting with yourself and asking yourself those questions. What would really light me up? I'd love to hear your comments below. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I tell you a way to enhance your life force? What would you love to do? Let me know in the comments.